Seeing an American truck has always been a spectacular sight for many. Its enormous beauty, its chrome plating, and its classic shapes. It would seem there's not much more we can learn about these super heavy machines. But if you've never followed the development of American trucks, you'll see that now there will be no limits to the revelation of what's happening across the ocean. There are no mainline tractors of that length, nor are there any restrictions on the boldest ideas. What can hold back the imagination of a long-haul driver? This is the American dream, the best job in the world, where drivers create palaces on wheels for themselves. Welcome to a new video. If you enjoy this type of content, subscribe to our channel. It's free. Now, let's begin. The origins of the American sleeper. At the beginning of the 20th century, only trucks were capable of covering long distances, becoming durable and reliable. With this, the need for accommodation for long-haul truckers arose. But there weren't enough hotels or campgrounds. The driver needed a place to rest his head after a long journey. The idea quickly emerged. He needed a bed he could take with him wherever he went. In trucks of those years, for example, in the 1917 Packard trucks, the so-called sleeping bags were located in a separate niche behind the cab. And in the 1920 truck, the same company created a sleeping area inside the cab, something that was rare even in the 1930s. Later, trucks appeared where the driver could lie down behind the seats. However, the designer's imagination went much further. Instead of extending the cab, transport companies built sleeping quarters directly into the semi-trailer. Original. Moreover, it was more interesting for trucks that had absolutely no room inside. They built birdhouses, first installed from above, and then came up with the idea of attaching them to a semi-trailer. Getting there after a hard day required an acrobat. One anecdote suggests that resting in a niche under the seats was more reminiscent of a coffin, but that didn't intimidate the worker. The evolution of cabins and tuning the small cabins gave way to separate sleeping pods that tuning studios began selling at the time. These were installed behind the standard cab and were a pretty decent option for some long-haul drivers. It was suggested that they add something similar to their truck during the garage construction. From a tarp to a frame, creating a small sleeping alcove. The search for better designs continued. An interesting truck appeared in the 1950s from the Corbett Company. The seats were softened and converted into a flatbed, and to gain more space, the designers had to add a hump to the front. Considering the truck's completely unrealistic height and the difficulty of climbing into the resting place, the driver must have been very tired after a hard day's work to even consider it. Although decent rear seat options for resting in the cabs were already appearing from the factory back then, experiments continued unabated. An interesting monster from the White Company, in its Psy version of that year, included a sleeping area. It was an easy sleeping area, although history is silent on whether it was easy to climb in. Furthermore, history will not tell us how one rested in this superstructure. All in the name of saving usable body volume. Of course, many people weren't happy with this, and some, as they say, freaked out in India. And since then, the cabs have been created on their own. An interesting and common tradition in this country is buying a bare truck chassis without a cab or body. It's simply cheaper, and local tuning studios can build absolutely any cab. Just the customer wants it. Look what they can do. Length restrictions, Europe versus America. For many years, drivers made do as best they could, both in Europe and America. Truckers wanted to organize and make their lives easier, and we must admit, car manufacturers soon finally took note of driver comfort. Trucks now leave the factory with quite comfortable cabs with different layouts and amenities, luxury salons with chic designs. There was no limit to the perfection of trucks, and everyone wanted more. Even more space, even more comfort. But there was a serious problem. For large volumes, the truck's length needed to be increased. And if in Europe, the length of a road train was strictly limited to 16.5 meters abroad, in the United States, the story has evolved much more interestingly. While in Europe, due to narrow streets, the length, which makes maneuvering road trains difficult, has been restricted. In the United States, with its vast distances and wide highways, things were fine with garages and spacious cities. In the United States, the length of road trains was limited to 20 meters. But even with this seemingly generous length, American automakers had to design cab trucks with a cab over the engine. American icons and tuning culture. I'd say no other country has created trucks as epic as the Peterbilt 362, the International Ken Kone, the Transtar, the Mack F-Series, the White Road Commander, or the Freightliner FL. The latter, by the way, appears in the famous film Terminator 2. It looks amazing, especially with those huge ramps. These trucks, for example, the Adaikone version, are simply stunning. What's outside? What's inside? Where else have you ever seen a place where you can stand up to full height in a sleeping bag? The abundance of leather and wood inside makes this truck one of the most luxurious. There were 70 mainframe tractors in the world, and in 1976, in the US, with its strict length restrictions for truckers, life was completely different. Incidentally, this truck appeared in the movie Universal Soldier. A monstrous tractor was created from a Kenworth. Truck equipment was already at a very high level in those years. Remember, for example, the cult film Convoy, with its luxurious cab decor. The protagonist says, "I'm Rubber Duck. Do you know why they named me that? I have a color TV, a sound system, an electric heated mattress." But the development of residential modules in the United States was just beginning in 1976. A true revolution took place in 2000. The maximum length of road trains was set at between 20 and 23 meters, and in 2015, US law became even more permissive, limiting only the length of the trailer. The truck itself could be any length. After this, the American truck epic began, and I'll tell you about it now. While European trucks opted to increase cab height, American trucks were able to increase usable volumes in both height and length. From the factory, trucks came with a very large sleeping bag. The elimination of compartment length restrictions led to bonnet trucks having numerous advantages, such as very convenient access to the engine. Moving the engine to the nose made it possible to eliminate the high tunnel, which made it possible to build even taller cabs that increased the height. Safety isn't the last priority. In bonnet trucks, there are 2 meters of life ahead, as drivers say. Personalization and extreme luxury on the road. The abundance of chrome is simply astounding. Fuel tanks, footrests, exhaust pipes sticking out everywhere, external air filters, and lots of different lighting. The interior is no less impressive. Leather, wood, and chrome. A comfortable sleeping bag has everything you need. It's very bright and eye-catching. I agree that in those years, American designers didn't eat their bread in vain. What is the passenger car industry? Everything turned out very well. All of this was standard factory equipment for trucks in the 1970s and 1980s. But for many years, the industry developed by leaps and bounds. The entire freight transport industry is advancing step by step. A vast culture where everything boils over and progresses inexorably. Today, even a factory-built truck has a wealth of additional equipment, and the customer can choose this equipment from the base on many models: a refrigerator, a television, a good audio system, and excellent interior finishes. And for those who still think this isn't enough, welcome to the vast world of tuning. The United States allows everyone to do what they want, express themselves, and be part of this incredible movement. And that's what you see at festivals and exhibitions, where you can show off your own truck and admire others. The United States regularly holds many different competitions, such as battles between loaded vehicles. There are also competitions for trucks pulling heavy trailers, or these high-speed races. There are countless races, festivals, and tuning exhibitions, where you can even see something as amazing as a twin-engine Peterbilt 359 with two 3,500 horsepower twin engines. They're not boring, they're alive. Truck tuning in the United States is incredible. Everything needed to finish supporting the family is developed and can be sold in shops, at campgrounds, literally in heavy-duty truck parking areas. As soon as they leave the factory, these beautiful machines are customized. Drivers install larger diameter wheels, custom mufflers, visors over the glass, fenders, bumpers with lift mechanisms, and interior tuning. Even more unique steering wheels, shift paddles, additional instruments. Everything is polished metal, a wide variety of cabs, and the entire truck is illuminated with a multitude of lights. The famous Coca-Cola commercial is known for showing long-haul truckers who actually drive trucks like this. These are not showpieces, they are workhorses. Factory-produced long-haul trucks are primarily powered by their powerful 500-600 horsepower diesel engines. But, for example, the Peterbilt engine, thanks mainly to the easy turbine replacement, can increase power to 800 horsepower. We recall the cult film Black Dog, where the hero driving a Peterbilt 379 says, "This engine is the best." This isn't far from the truth. It's a very cool film that showcases the work of American truckers. The epic of the giant sleeper. Some truckers extend their truck's chassis, not only to make it look more impressive, but also to accommodate a giant sleeper. This is where the whole American truck epic unfolds. And let's start with examples, of course. In 2007, a two-story monster was built based on the Freightliner Cascadia. The living compartment was 7.5 meters long. It has everything you need for independent and comfortable living. A bathroom, a shower, a full kitchen with a huge refrigerator, a dining area, a relaxation area on the second floor with a home theater and a first-class music system. And, of course, a huge double bed. The Twin Custom Co's company created it in a single copy. It's truly unique, the only truck with a double-decker sleeper in the world. But this is high-tech. Real American truckers choose trucks with hoods, trucks with classic looks, and what can't they do to them? It's beyond belief. So, what does a successful American trucker with a large sum of money do? He buys a truck and takes it to a tuning shop. And this is where the magic begins. The chassis is lengthened, and a huge sleeper is added to the truck. Very often, this is a colossal living unit, equipped with every possible comfort. You can do whatever you want with it. Typically, this includes a full kitchen with a dining area and a huge refrigerator, a shower, and a bathroom. A mandatory minimum is a plasma TV and a very large bed. Increasingly, customers are adding a powerful multimedia system, and the interior is decorated with a game console, leather, and wood. For special clients, there's marble flooring, of course, climate control with a separate generator, and even a barbecue grill. But what you don't expect at all is a separate compartment for your motorcycle. After a hard day's work, why not enjoy a sunset ride? This approach is for married couples or truckers who are used to not denying themselves anything. This magnificence allows them to avoid using hotels, cooking homemade food, and eating at dubious roadside cafes. How much does all this cost? A decent truck costs $150,000, and a custom-made bed for it costs the same. But experienced American truckers aren't poor. $10,000, $15,000, or even $25,000 a month is the norm for true professionals. They pamper themselves. They know how to work and how to rest. It's amazing how different cars can be on different continents. Each side of the world has its own preferences, laws, and habits. Some people prefer maneuverability and economy, while others appreciate comfort, space, and beauty. Classic shapes in America still produce trucks with a 1960s design, and some will say they're great, with no electronic speed limiter and no size restrictions. They will always be considered immortal classics, a symbol of the entire continent and a true long-haul driver's dream. Fantastic trucks are the true workers who built all of America. We've reached the end of this video. Comment in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and tap the bell to enjoy future videos like this one. See you next time.